You wake up, you check your phone, you scroll for 12 minutes, you grab coffee on the way to work, maybe you tap your card for lunch, maybe you click Buy Now on something you'll forget about in a week. And at some point, maybe late at night, you think, I make decent money, so why does it still feel like I'm behind? You're not broke, you're not irresponsible, you're not clueless, but retirement? That feels like a moving target. And here's the crazy part. The difference between retiring at 65 and retiring at 53 might come down to a single number: $100 per day. Not saved, not invested, not even earned, just directed with intention. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how that works. My name is James, and I spend way too much time thinking about how everyday financial decisions quietly shape your entire future. If you're someone who earns money consistently but still feels like wealth isn't compounding the way it should, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Look, here's the thing. Most people think retirement is about massive income. It's not. It's about small, repeatable financial behaviors. And here's what most people don't realize. You don't retire because you hit a certain age. You retire because your money produces enough daily income to replace your expenses. So let's break that down. The average American household has about $87,000 saved for retirement, according to Federal Reserve data. That sounds like a lot until you realize most people think they'll need around $1 to $2 million to retire comfortably. That's not a small gap, that's a canyon. And this is where it gets really interesting. The average full-time worker earns roughly $60,000 to $70,000 per year. That's about $190 per working day. Which means for most people, retirement feels like, I need decades of income to build something that replaces decades of income. Overwhelming. So they default to, I'll start later. I need to make more first. Investing's too complicated. But here's the shift. Instead of thinking in terms of years, think in terms of days. The $100 a day rule is simple. If your investments generate $100 per day in sustainable income, that's $36,500 per year. At $200 per day, that's $73,000 per year. Retirement isn't some mystical milestone, it's math. So the real question becomes, how much invested capital does it take to generate $100 per day? Let's assume a conservative 4% withdrawal rate, a commonly referenced benchmark in retirement planning. To generate $36,500 per year at 4%, you need about $912,500 invested. That's it. Not easy, but clear. Now here's where people freeze. They see $900,000 and think, impossible. But watch this. If you invest $100 per day, that's $3,000 per month. That's $36,500 per year. Invested at an average 8% annual return, historically reasonable for long-term stock market exposure over 25 years, you'd have roughly $2.8 million. Let me say that again. Not by hitting the lottery, not by launching a startup, just $100 per day. Now, you might be thinking, James, who has an extra $100 per day? Totally fair, but that's not actually the point. The rule is about direction, not starting position. Because here's what most people don't realize. The habit of directing $100 per day is more powerful than the dollar amount itself. Here's the psychological truth. Your brain is wired for daily feedback, not annual spreadsheets. When you think, I'll invest $1,200 per month, that feels abstract. But when you think, today I directed $100 toward my future, that feels concrete. Behavioral economists call this mental accounting. You treat daily money differently than long-term money. And here's where it gets really interesting. When something is framed daily, it becomes identity-based. Gym, daily. Food, daily. Phone, daily. Money, we treat it monthly. That mismatch is why consistency breaks. Let's look at two scenarios. Person A invests $1,500 per month starting at age 25, 8% annual return, invests for 40 years. Result, about $5 million. Person B waits 12 years, invests the same amount, same return. Result, about $2.2 million. 12 years costs them nearly $3 million. That's the compounding curve. Early daily direction changes everything. This is why the $100 a day framework isn't about being extreme, it's about eliminating delay. Now let's make this actionable. Step 1. Calculate your daily freedom number. Take your annual spending goal, divide it by 365, that's your retirement per day target. If you want $60,000 per year, 60,000 divided by 365, approximately $164 per day. Clear. Step 2. Reverse engineer the capital. At 4% withdrawal, 60,000 divided by 0.04 equals $1.5 million. Step 3. Automate a daily direction. Now, you don't literally have to move money daily, but psychologically treat your investing as daily progress. If you invest $2,000 per month, that's about $66 per day. Track it that way. Watch it daily. Reinforce it daily. Now, you might be thinking, I can't afford $100 per day. Let's zoom out. $100 per day is $36,500 per year. If you earn $90,000, that's 40% savings. Aggressive? Yes. Impossible? No. But here's the deeper point. Even $25 per day invested at 8% over 30 years is about $1.1 million. That's $9,125 in sustainable withdrawals. Small daily inputs scale massively over decades. The earlier you start, the less dramatic it needs to be. Here's what silently destroys early retirement: raises. According to Bureau of Labor Statistics data, wages tend to increase steadily over time. But savings rates don't? Increase automatically, lifestyle expands to absorb income. This is called lifestyle creep. And here's what most people don't realize. Retirement acceleration doesn't require earning more, it requires preventing lifestyle inflation from consuming your raises. If every raise increases your daily investment by even $10, that compounds into years of freedom. This is where it becomes psychological. If you see yourself as someone trying to save, you'll struggle. If you see yourself as someone who buys freedom daily, everything changes. The $100 a day rule isn't about restriction, it's about identity. You are purchasing future optionality every single day. I once spoke with someone who felt behind at 35. He thought early retirement was unrealistic, but he calculated his daily freedom number. It was $140. He started with $40 per day. Then every bonus increased it. Within 5 years, he hit $110 per day invested. Nothing dramatic, no crypto windfall, no inheritance, just systems. And he shaved nearly a decade off his retirement projection. Not because of genius, because of consistency. The math is obvious. The psychology is the secret. Daily framing reduces overwhelm. Automation removes decision fatigue. Compounding amplifies time. And time is the real engine. Willpower fades. Daily identity sticks. Spending will always feel easier. Raises will disappear quietly. Retirement will drift further away. Stress won't explode. It will accumulate, slowly. But if you implement the $100 a day framework, you gain control. You gain clarity. You gain acceleration. Look, no one is going to hand you early retirement, and you don't need extreme frugality. You don't need to optimize every latte. You need structure. You need daily intentional direction. Because retirement isn't about age, it's about daily income from assets. If you can build toward $100 per day, then $150, then $200, you're not hoping anymore, you're engineering. If this video shifted how you think about retirement, if it made it feel measurable instead of mythical, hit the like button. Subscribe for weekly financial clarity. And share this with someone who keeps saying, I just need to make more before I start investing. No, you need to start directing daily. Because the real secret, retiring 12 years early isn't about massive sacrifice. It's about what you do today and tomorrow and the next 10,000 days after that.